my friends tell me, Ebeneza unakuwa na class gani kila siku? Like friends that have known me since 2021 know that in the conversation I'm like, I have a class, I'll be doing a class. And the reason why that has happened and is because when I got a grip of purpose for me around 2022,
Wow.
I chose to certify passion. And that's why I went back to school for counseling psychology.
Wow.
Because I felt I have so much potential, but then how do we direct? And that just speaks to the move number one was purpose. That if you know your purpose, then you start learning the right things, buying the right books, going to the right conferences, meeting the right people. But I feel the downside of proficiency or why people don't want to get into it. Would you speak to people saying this is expensive? Probably a course, a masterclass. I have hosted L-Earn Masterclass, and you tell someone it's probably 1,500 for like 45 minutes. Someone tells you that is too expensive. Yeah. Would you speak to that? And probably the aspect of pride not to learn.
You know why I'm laughing? You also know I do a lot of masterclasses. Every time you're not investing in your dream, it starts to die a slow death. You've given it a slow death poison. Because your dream will go as far as you invest in them. And this is it. Number 2, you have to budget for your growth. Growth does not happen
haphazardly,
spontaneously. Growth does not happen haphazardly. And growth does not happen just because you want to grow. You have to budget for your growth. Every month, hata kama utakuwa unabuy kitabu mahali ama you go to the library to read. You know me, I'm an author. I don't advise people to buy books in the streets. I'm always against that. You need to budget to buy good books. Tunua kitabu teka kwa your home library. Si unaweka kitu kwa home library na kaka gazeti na ni kitabu. Spend money, go get good books. You see, when you do that, God honors your commitment to your growth. God honors it. And let me tell you, God expects you to invest in your growth. And that's why, for many of us, the moment you will make a decision to grow, there's going to be a disruptive effect to your daily schedule. A disruptive effect. You know what will start happening? There are friendships that will start whistling and just, flickering off. There are places you used to go and you just like, no, I'm not going there anymore. Because you're honoring your destiny. Your destiny, possibly you have been bypassing opportunities because they have not been recognizing your version, the current version of you. Let that sink. Opportunities have been bypassing you because they don't recognize your current version.
They come check, they realize it's version 2.0.
And you know what happens? They move with the person who is ready.
Time and chance.
So I had this friend of mine, Dr. Derek Samuels. I hosted him for the Christianship conference from the U.S. This man is so intelligent. So Dr. Derek said, you know this scripture that says, goodness and mercies shall follow us all the days of our lives. And we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Goodness and mercies follow. They don't wait for you. They follow you.
So I should be ahead.
So you should be making progressive moves. And you see what? You are walking ahead because God is leading the path.
Okay.
So literally, goodness and mercies is following the track that God has already made. You are literally... So anytime you're out of alignment, there's a sense of you that keeps on not becoming because you're not honoring growth. If you want to grow in your prayer life, you have to plan to pray. You don't imagine you'll wake up and just pray.
Pray somehow.
Literally, my prayer time is part of my schedule. I schedule my prayer life.
But whatever is not scheduled is not done.
Whatever is not scheduled is not done. I schedule the time that I'm going to read. So I'll read 5 pages in the morning, 5 pages in the mid-morning, 5 pages in the afternoon, 5 pages in the evening. I schedule that in my daily sort of scheduling list that I have. So the thing is that if it's too expensive, you've not yet. You're still blind to your destiny. Your destiny is so precious. if God can just show up in your room and unveil the ignorance possibly that you have, or the blindness that you have, or your mind that towards your destiny, let me tell you, you will wake up the next morning and work yourself up and invest. You cannot be putting on an expensive hair on a dumb head.
Say that again. Okay.
Guys, I know I know literally I'm going.
You've gone for the jugular.
Oh my God, I'm going to be lynched for this. But let me tell you the truth. You cannot put an expensive hair on a dumb head. You cannot put on an expensive suit on a dumb head.
That when you ask what do you bring to the table, you say I'm the table,
Yeah. You cannot be carrying around an expensive phone and you don't have a book in your library.
Okay.
Okay, I read online books. Well, the last time I checked, when the M-Pesa message clicked, you forgot about reading.
You're like, how can I?
My goodness, you realize that even the value of the friendships you have is a reflection of the value you have as a person. I'm telling you the truth. If you have 5 broke friends,
Okay.
you did not count well. You are
There was our 6th one.
you guys are 6 and you're the prefect.
Okay.
Because everything gravitates on the fulcrum of your value system.
Okay.
If your value system is not in alignment, your friendships will be out of alignment. The books you're going to be reading, utakuwa unasomanga tu mambo ya romance. Unasomanga tu romance, unabaiki tu, unawatchingi tu movie za romance. Hata mpaka uko na hacking system ya kuwatch movies za romance. Unawatchingi tu DJ Afro. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the truth is, what is it feeding? So if it's expensive, you have not yet seen the value of your destiny. When you see that, you'll cry out before you go buy that book. Yeah.
I think one of the things I have realized is when you start investing in yourself, then you stop thinking about bread, milk, and butter. That, yes, that is important, but then you don't sit down to start figure out. Of course, there's the aspect of budgeting, but I feel that days that pass and you're like, did I even eat lunch?
Yeah.
Because you are so much engrossed into the becoming.
The zeal of your destiny is consumed.
Yes. And I think it's Apostle Joshua Salman who said that if you refuse to be great, then you are doing a disservice to a whole generation.
Oh, goodness. That's true.
That changed my mind. That if I refuse to go for that master's, if I refuse to do that proficiency course, if I refuse to pay that 20K so that I can have a small room with Vusi,
That's right.
then I am doing a disservice. Not just for me, but an
entire generation.
Guys that are waiting, I don't know what step have you been holding on your journey to proficiency.
Yeah.
Building your craft, skilling up. And if you're able to learn, then the L will become silent after some time. We are talking about boss moves. And number 1, you must know your purpose. Number 2, you have to build your purpose. God doesn't want to use that raw purpose in you. He built the tree, you have to make the tables. And before you make the tables, you need to pick a randa. And that is your work. God is busy healing the sick and doing the other things. Number 3 is positioning. I have known my purpose. I have honed my skills. How do I position myself? And you have heard the old story of a bottle of water at a tuck shop.
Yeah.
Sells at around 30 bob in a supermarket, at around 100 bob at Kempinski, at about 250, probably at the airport at around 1,000 bob.
That's true.
Brand positioning. What has made your brand stand out?
Hey!
And how did you carve that niche?
Let me just tell you. Biblically, most of the people that God used powerfully and greatly in their generation, I don't know how. Maybe someone needs to explain to us, but they moved.
Okay.
You realize that they moved.
Like literally change of location.
Yeah, like they literally changed. Abraham had to relocate.
Leave Haran, leave your kindred.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joseph, man, You see, for him, he did not relocate out of personal volition.
Volition.
He was literally carried as a slave. Who else? I mean, name them.
Yes.
Daniel and his friends.
Even Jacob had to go.
Even Jacob. Most of the people. And sure enough, there's a clear indication between brand positioning and movement. So, two dimension. There's a way you can flourish where God has actually called you to exhibit your purpose, and truly you will flourish if He is the one who has called you to be there. And there's some of us that God will ask us to move. God will literally ask us to move, change locations. You possibly might need to move from your parents' house.
Young people out there at 25 and
Yeah.
still calling, Mama, what have we cooked? And all that.
Absolutely. Like, imagine you'll possibly have to just change your home, your home address, and move from maybe one city to the other, and it will be a painful process. It will be a very there's going to be a lot of difficulty and discomfort because, man, gift. If these things were easy, everybody could have gotten it right. If these things were easy, these things that some of us are doing, if they were easy, everybody could have gotten it right. But because not everyone has gotten it right, there's a price you pay. And the price you will pay for your brand positioning is possibly movement.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, positioning will be based on who you hang around with. So one of the research paper I was writing one time, I was on young professionals and mentorship. And the outcome of that research was that most young people don't have mentors. Most young people have people that they know, but those people know nothing about them.
Okay.
So you can be carrying a brand, but you're the only one who knows about it. No one else knows about it. And you realize that when people know your brand, they know your work ethics, they know what you can do, they know your capacity. People will actually help you position your brand. You understand? Why do we put on why do we put on Nike shoes? I mean, you buy a T-shirt of someone from a country you've never known.
Let's visual.
I mean, LC Waikiki. And all these brands that we know, these cloth brands that we know. Why do we put them on? It's because those people have built their brands to the level whereby a person can literally trust it while carrying it on. So the thing is that your brand positioning will depend with the people that you interact with, and the people that also are sort of the brand ambassadors of your brand. That's number two. Number three, brand positioning is dependent on the growth of your mindset. So previously I said it's not enough to be skilled. It's actually one of the videos I've posted on my TikTok. It's not enough to be skilled. It's enough to find the right environment for your skills. So you realize that people have grown. People want to build their brands, but they have not built the persona behind the brand.
Okay.
Your brand positioning is dependent on the persona behind that brand. You realize before people buy what you do, they buy who you are. So who you are will determine how your positioning will look like. So for me, those three things have really played out clearly. So number one, I remember during COVID, I called my dad and I told my dad, I'm not coming home. I think I just have to figure out a few things during this period of shut down.
Let me shut down around the city.
Yeah, let me just shut down around the city. And let me tell you, I stayed in this city during COVID. And let me tell you, it was not easy. But during that period of time, something sprout. Because I made that decision. I moved. Truth be said, if today you go back home to the village and you start doing the things that your friends are doing in the village, we will forget about you. So literally there's a whole lot of movement. Number two, the people that you hang around with is a reflection of your brand positioning. Goodness gracious, we are as strong or as weak as the people we surround ourselves with. In fact, You are a reflection of the people you surround yourself with. Let me say this to Kenyans. The citizens of this country, the vast majority of the citizens of this country are a reflection of the governance structure of this country. It's a truth that we don't like to talk about. So you will only grow to the level of the people that you have entertained around yourself. Number 3, your mindset has to shift. The reason why it's called mindset, you have to literally set your mind. You have to tune the frequency of that moment. And don't focus on building a brand. Focus on building you. Build the person behind the brand. People focus on becoming big. I want to be bigger. I want to be the best public speaker. It's true. It's a very worthwhile adventure to take. But at what cost? Are you building yourself as an individual? Is your mindset right? And those 3 things for me totally transformed my brand positioning.
So for you who wants to make boss moves and you're 20-something and you still stay in your mother's house, totally no bad blood with that. Probably you have reasons.
No, you need to move out.
Okay.
Well, you move out from your mother's house.
Because Abraham had to move. And you remember until when God tells Abraham to move, the next time he spoke to him again, lots of blessings after Lot had moved.
Yes. In fact, go live with your friends. Just move. Just move from your mother's house. I'm telling you the truth. When you move from your mother's house, do you know, even God literally had to make David test the throne before he went there. That guy used just to volunteer. You know, his work was just to play when this guy was demon possessed. That was a cute work responsibility. That was a cute JD. Like, what do you do? Me, I cast out demons by playing the guitar.
That's what I do.
Yeah, so for me, that's it.
Movement for me looks like exposure therapy. That when you see it, you can't unsee it. And when you know it, you can't unknow.
Man, you're deep. Exposure therapy.
Let me use money, for instance, and maybe you bear that. Someone said you can't make... Seldom will you make the amount of money you think is a lot of money. Yeah. That if you think 1 million shillings is a lot of money, rarely will you make that money. But once you make 1 million shillings, you have exposed yourself.
Yeah.
And when you see it, you can't unsee it.
That's right.
And that is what movement looks like. That God wants to probably move us. And once you have seen how the world looks like, I really thank God for G-Pro.
Yeah.
It helped me move from the village. You know,
That's it. I was waiting for you to say it. I was waiting for you to say it.
You know, yes. I had grown up in Western Kenya, went to high school in Western Kenya.
Yes.
And went to campus in Western Kenya, Kisii University. And when I'm approached to join G-Pro, I'm like, Nairobi, where am I going to? My parents were a little bit upheld to say, like, we deliver to the city. And I told them, I will go.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people it has taken me 3 years to study how the city works and why it's called a capital city. Probably I'll write a book about Nairobi. Like the becoming that had happened by just me moving away, me struggling to pay rent here, 3K. I understood. Money follows value. Yeah. And when I have seen that, I can't unsee it. Anyway, positioning that we have to really move and make a step. Would you speak to the uniqueness of our positioning? I know Vusi is your great admirer, and I admire him as well. Probably I'll shake hands. You've gone ahead of me. But maybe if I shake your hand, you still okay.
Well, yeah, you're right.
I see young people want to forsake their uniqueness, even as they are telling their brand story. And I've heard Lynn Ngugi, the greatest podcaster we have right now, and she said when she started off, she had the pressure of trying to twang and like, hi guys, and all that. Lynn Ngugi's accent, her tonal variation, just that is the selling point.
Absolutely.
What would you tell young people, probably who admire Okanda and they want to use these mind-boggling words like Okanda? Would you speak to uniqueness in telling your story as part of your brand positioning?
Your uniqueness is a reflection of your personal identity. Mm-hmm. When you build a strong persona, and you meet great people. You meet great people.
Mhm.
Huh?
Mhm.
You meet great people who blow up your mind.
Mhm.
You don't get shocked.
Okay.
You get inspired.
Okay.
Do you know there are people who get in the room and they're like, wow, hey,
Ati kuna lights.
huyo ni Vusi.
Eh?
And there's a place I'm not, but you must honor. You
Yes,
must honor
yes.
the glory behind that person
Mm.
because they're paid the ultimate price.
There's a story behind.
But they inspire you as you carry the badge of your own scar and healing from the wound of your own battle.
Mhm.
You understand?
Mhm.
So the thing is that every time you admire people, don't admire the reels.
Okay.
Admire the story behind the reels.
Mhm.
Reels are short, cute, flashy,
Mhm.
but there's a whole story.
Story behind.
A friend of mine looked at me. We were in this we had gone for a Sitam pastoral retreat, and it was a powerful session with pastors.
Mhm.
And during the break time, a friend came in and we were just having this man-to-man conversation.
Mhm.
And we were saying, for us to see God moving in our generation as young pastors, something has to die.
Mhm.
And we have been living and feeding on the reels.
Mhm.
So before a movie is released, they normally release the trailer.
Mhm.
We have been living on the trailer.
Mhm.
The trailer is 30 seconds
Mhm.
or 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Literally, there is a whole story behind that.
Mhm.
Honor the pain of your story. The most dangerous person in this world is a person who is running away from their own shadows.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
The reason as to why you will admire people until you die, never attained any single thing about the people that you admired, is because you refuse to pay the price. I've had great people. I've had an opportunity to sit down with quite very, very articulate, intelligent people who have gone ahead of me. Sometimes I don't post it. But I've had an opportunity to sit down with them in just a room like this and we're having a conversation. It's not a podcast. It's no one is with cameras. We don't even take selfies after the conversation. We just talk. And I ask them, what did it do? What did it take you to get here? And they open the book.
The books were open.
To a larger extent, they tell me, lean forward. And they tell me, this is my scar. This is the scar that I bear. And this is the badge of honor. If there is no... And listen, I'm talking about a scar, not a wound. Don't start publicizing your brand with wounds. You will bleed on the people that you want to build.
And people that even didn't hurt you.
And do you know what will happen? You will die. So you're seated in a plane and you are moving from one place to another. I normally love this part of the flight. So someone will come and say, ladies and gentlemen, please take note of the following sort of announcement, so to say. Even if you are a frequent flight person, make sure that you pay close attention to what you're just about to say. When the cabin runs out of oxygen, the oxygen mask is going to fall from the ceiling. Please, if you're seated next to a child or an old person, fix your oxygen mask first. We are having people who are building brands, but they are hypoxia. Hypoxia, what hypoxia is? They're out of oxygen. And they're trying to crop while dying. Fix your oxygen mask first. Let me tell you, bro, when you're breathing appropriately in your leadership, and you meet me, who is also breathing appropriately in my leadership and my area of influence, I will inspire you. I will not intimidate you. When you meet great people, when I meet great people, I don't get intimidated. I get inspired. I honor them. Like the other day when I was meeting Vusi, my goodness, there is just something about these people. When I'm feeling, because I was so close, man. Vusi has been this guy's really inspired me quite a lot. And when I was shaking his hand, I was like, man, I've heard your story about your father who was shot 9 times. I've heard your story your journey and all that. And how did you handle that? In fact, I asked him that question, both in the conference and this side event where we were meeting him as just some young people and people who are into the executive and stuff like that. And you know what he told me? Because he told me, even your value, the price, and of course we'll get into pricing.
Yes.
Your pricing will be a reflection of your identity. And you see, when you're going to inspire people, you need to have a strong identity. As I finish, one day I was talking to my dad on the dining table. He's my best friend, and he's been my greatest inspiration. My dad is my first mentor, by the way. I have quite a number of mentors, like 5. But my dad is my first mentor. My dad leaned forward on the table and told me, son, I want you to listen to me. And of course, I know he's going to watch this. He told me, if you're going to lose anything you did not come with from your mother's womb, be okay. If you lose anything that you did not come with from your mother's womb, be okay. You're going to get it. But if you lose anything you came with from your mother's womb, get worried. You see, the essence of that is that you literally have to make sure that you're building a strong identity that is a reflection of where you're going. Your brand is at the mercy of your personal identity.
Wow. Yeah. And that is the uniqueness that you bring to this space. I was reading a book, Selling Yourself, and he says that when you're invited, so he says selling yourself for authors, for speakers, and so he says as a speaker, when you're invited, among the many questions you ask about where's the venue and all that, ask them, why did you call me? That is your USP, your unique selling point. Because there are so many other speakers. Why did they choose Okanda? Why did they choose Eben to come? When you understand that, that can help you to understand your positioning. And even when you go back to now probably proficiency, you can now build on those lines.
Right.
So people should own their story.
Man, people should own their story. If you're not owning your story, there are realities that you're still running away from. And I've spoken to executives. And one time I was speaking to this group of people and I told them, some of you seated here, you need to heal from your childhood traumas because you have been bleeding on your staff. You have been bleeding in the boardroom. You have not been leading in the boardroom. You have been bleeding in the boardroom. And part of you healing from your childhood trauma is owning your story. Yeah.
And when I talk to parents, I realize how unconsciously or subconsciously they pass down brokenness. They pass down trauma.
You're right.
They bleed on this young girl in Form 2 who didn't cause, like, well, the two were meeting as couples, eating chipos in town. The girl was not, probably just in the man's loins, but then they are bleeding on them. And that's really powerful, owning our story. And I know stories are very powerful. There are sessions I'm invited and you hear the Lord leave the slides.
Ebu, say that again. Like, so that when they invite us and see us leaving the slide, they don't
feel like we are changing, because there's so much to pick. And when you leave the slides and for 45 minutes, you tell your story and they're like, we wouldn't have asked for more. Once I know my purpose, I have built the proficiency around it. I have positioned myself in the right space. I have left Haran and gotten to the city, all right? And I know what I bring to the table. Let's talk pricing and selling yourself. Let me begin with this. Is there a time you have shortchanged yourself in pricing and you realize there was more than that in the budget?
Oh, don't even start. Where? I've gotten invitations and I've been like, Okanda, what did you just do? Ama, that's why they accepted it so quickly. Yeah, it's true. I've gotten to places and I was just like, wow, no. And some of them have even sort of topped up. into what I asked.
Like they are like this.
Because they're like, bana, this one was too much to ask. Yeah, so the question is, the answer to the question is, yes, I have.
How have you felt after?
Oh, I felt so bad. But also I felt like to some point, I realized sometimes I doubted my value. I was like, so if I charge them this amount of money, are they going to pay me? Oh my God. So I'm seated with Vusi and seated with Vusi in Sankara Hotel, and we're having a conversation with some of these entrepreneurs, and he's talking to us. And I stood up and asked a question, Vusi, how do you make a decision of charging your value? So I'll just give guys an opportunity to go and check. And of course, I asked him. It's in the public domain. I asked him, Vusi, you charge. I see your red card is slightly. Actually, it's now over $1 million for just showing up in your event. And he has the brand of water that should be on the stage. He has the kind of microphone that should be on the stage. He has the kind of the seat that he always has this raise up stool that he normally use on any stage. And Vusi told me something. So he asked me some number of questions that were hard. I don't want to say them here. They were a bit personal.
Okay.
They were a bit personal. And he told me, when you send out that proposal, people already know where you come from, how you will arrive, the kind of phone you use, the kind of the places, the kind you came with a motorbike to talk to billionaires. Are you even in the right mindset? And he literally said, the reason as to why people sort of try to bargain your value is because they don't think you're that valuable. So people already know.
Because you have positioned yourself a certain way.
Yeah, and literally I was like, Vusi, so do you want me to
arrive
to borrow a car and borrow the latest Mercedes C-Class and go get and you realize I answered that question by myself, because the thing is that before your pricing has levels. So this level of operation is not how I used to price 5 years ago.
Yes.
It has totally shifted. Because when I'm coming to a place and then don't itemize your pricing. Fuel 5,000.
Don't sell the pieces.
Don't sell the pieces of your value. They will literally tell you, but we don't want books. Why are you putting books in your?
You're coming from Karen.
Yeah.
This is 50 bob on
yeah.
Fuel is 200.
And fuel 5,000. I am team. I'll be having a videographer and photographer. Let me tell you, all those things I chucked them out from my value. I don't itemize my value system. I give it as a package, because now my value system is a compact. It's not. It's not pieces. I'm not selling pieces of my value. So don't price pieces. Price the compact of your value. And do you know how you get there? Where we have just come from, positioning. God tells Abraham something that is, I don't know if many people see that in the text. It tells Abraham, go to a land that I will show you. So God literally shows you the place of your growth, of your becoming, of actualization. He shows you the place of your purpose. You understand? So that by the time you're pricing, because I feel like sometimes we price our skills in the wrong context. Because if you're bargaining your value, possibly you're selling it to the wrong group of people. So nowadays, what I do is this, and this goes especially to people who are starting off and they don't know how to price. So, and you don't just price because you want to price. There must be what you call the stage time. There must be the times you have showed up and you have done the thing. So 2 things are very important. any opportunity should either give you financial capital or social capital. So I will be called to this event and I'll hear them telling me, "Oh, we are thinking we did not have
budget.
a budget,
Uh-huh.
and we are just thinking of giving you this amount of money." And deep down in my heart, I'm just like, "No, let me just give my service." And don't try that because I'll turn that on. I'll turn it down so quickly. But what I'm saying is this: I'll be like, let me just go. So it's not everything that I will charge. And there are those things I pick every month. Every month in my planner, I do at least one pro bono session. Something that I'm just giving to the community, doing it for free and all that. So the thing is that it should either give you, anytime you're picking up a pro bono session, it should give you a social capital. If it's not giving you a social capital, the thing that you're doing should give you financial capital. But I pray it gives you both social capital and financial capital, because the social capital will give you sustainability. Financial capital will facilitate that sustainability, and the vice versa is true.
I think pricing and selling yourself, it's really a huge thing.
Very.
And for me, I have had to learn from one of the best. One of my teachers online is called Myron Golden. You know Myron? Woo! You know how much he charges?
Yeah.
Like if you are to call him in Kenya, probably will one of these fine days.
Yeah.
You have to pay his jet.
Private jet. Not like Air Kenya. Okay.
And he says, people say, we'll pay you exposure. I'm like, I don't want exposure. I'm already exposed.
Yeah.
And he says that if people are bargaining about your price, then the question is, did they really want you? So he says, probably they wanted Myron Silver, not gold. And that guy, and how he's able to just pick principles from the Bible.
Yeah.
Solomon, the king, queen of Sheba, paid gold to Solomon.
And literally, if someone is telling you, we are calling you because we want to give you exposure, possibly they're right. They know you need exposure. But please don't call me for exposure. I know you also don't want exposure.
No, that I have already exposed myself pro bono.
Yeah.
I have done the dirty work.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Please, I just want to rest. If that's
And I was doing a class on selling yourself, just teaching people about pricing and all that. And I did calculations of money.
Yeah.
I know at this point, money is measured more in time than in amount.
Absolutely.
That if you earn 30K at the end of the month and then I earn 30K in 3 minutes, guess who is richer?
Oh,
it's the person that earned 3 minutes.
That's right. And
I did some math and I was able to value how much my minute is worth. All right? So when the clock counts 1 to 60 seconds, you should be able to get how much your minute is. All right?
Yeah.
So when I was sharing with these participants in this call, they're like, are you telling us to skyrocket our prices at that point? Because if you don't put the caveat for the young people who are beginning, people will start asking for a huge amount of money and then they have not built that. And I want you to put your thoughts on this statement.
Yeah.
I read this somewhere that if you have to clone my price tag or my rate card, you have to clone me. That if we have to clone Vusi, if we have to clone Myron's price tag, we have to clone him. We have to become him. Is that possible?
Well, there are two things to that question. The thing is that each one of us, we have different paths.
Sure.
Therefore, the people around you should not be a copycat. You should not be their copycat.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're their copy. You should not be their carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
These people, you see, when I was coming here, I just went to, because I don't know this place, so I went to the Google Maps, clicked on the link that you shared with me, so I started off. And when I was coming, they said in 200 meters, in 300 meters, in 400 meters, there is a sign and all that. You see signs and all that. The people who have gone ahead of you, they're supposed to be sign boards, not the destination.
Okay.
Vusi is not my destination. And even the people who inspire him, they're not his destination. They're like, yo, you're on the right track because this is the path that we have been on. So you're on the right track. The danger that we get ourselves, especially young people, is that you want to take selfies with every person you meet with.
Okay.
And you want to call everybody your mentor. Every person you meet with, my mentor. There are people who have everybody. In fact, there's one I met recently. No, I'm not your mentor. Mimi, I'm not your mentor because I've just met you right now. Like, we have met right now. How am I your mentor? So who is a mentor? That question begs, so who is a mentor? You understand? So the thing is that we get ourselves into this quagmire where everybody we meet who have gone ahead of us, we idolize them and they become the destination to our path. So what do? We keep on doing everything that they're doing, thinking that we'll be them. We have used Vusi in this call for quite a long time. But he has inspired me a lot. He's inspired my public speaking journey. I've written 2 books on public speaking and communication hacks, the A to Z of public speaking for a teenager, and I've built my I wasn't speaking like this.
Yes.
I had to do a lot of vocal warm-ups and all that to get my public speaking right, into articulation, pronunciation, and all those things. The thing is this. The quagmire we get ourselves in as young people, we try to be like them. Vusi is 40 years old. He just turned 40. I'm turning 30. That's a whole decade. I can't start pricing people 1 million for 45 minutes. Even if I want. Possibly. It is possible. I'm not saying that it is not possible. But the thing is, there is a cost-effect journey pricing and the cost that he has paid for this number of years. Now, there's a principle we call bending the curve. So, bending the curve in the y-axis, you have you have experience, and then in the x-axis you have time, where if you know where the x-axis and the y-axis is. But in the y-axis, we have experience, and in the x-axis, we have time. So you can literally bend the curve by using the shortest time possible to learn as much as you can, to leverage on the experience you can. So this can come in terms of volunteering, in terms of showing up for events and speaking, writing down. Or if you want to be an author, starting up a podcast, a blog, where you write your thoughts down. You write you buy a notebook every year. You make sure you journal every day to make sure that you build the fluidity of your mind and thoughts and the nimbleness of the same and the agility of the same, so that there's a fluid flow of ideas when you are writing. You are trying to bend the curve using the shortest time possible to gain the highest experience as much as you can. That's bending the curve. That is a principle you can use, but the thing is, we are in totally different journeys. I can never be Vusi. I can never be any other person. I am totally unique. They're like signboards, but they're not the destination. There's a map that I'm following. They're like, in 200 meters, bro, turn, take a left turn. And you see, that is what mentorship is all about. Because mentorship to some extent is the shortcut. Let me use that word loosely. Is the shortcut to your success. Because these people are supposed to share with you experiences and things that they have done, some of the mistakes they have made, so that you don't make the same mistake. It doesn't mean you'll not make the mistakes, but you don't make the same mistakes, because there are people who have already made the mistakes that you need to learn from.
So you make your own mistakes for other people to learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely. And that's the nature of life. So if you think about pricing, it's a conglomerate of a number of things that you can't just cherry pick one thing and run with it. So you write a book at 21, or you write a book at 19, and then you expect to sell 50,000 copies. and you don't have a brand.
Mhm.
You have not built experience.
Mhm.
Of course, what you have to do, you now need to seek to bend the curve,
Mhm.
looking for many opportunities as much as you can,
Mhm.
leveraging on the experience, on the shortest time that you have, to build the highest optimal experience that you can get. Yeah.
I hear you. But then don't clone someone else. Just be you
Just be you.
and self-value, not the pieces.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
I think that's so mind-blowing. And again, in negotiations, probably someone should not sell themselves short. And maybe a simple thing I try to do is get to hear, do you have budgets? Like, just get to the other
Yeah.
side. What is your budget? And have your desirable amount.
Yeah.
Like, this is the amount I would desire. But I really what you loved what you said about leverage. I think for me, if I'm not getting the monies, I'm getting the networks. Because these networks are like a lead generation.
Yeah.
Because you remember my story when I shortchanged myself for a prize, but then in that audience, I got a parent who gave me an opportunity to speak to a corporate. From that, I'll be able to see some teenagers one-on-one from that.
Wow.
So being able to just leverage on that would really help. And for the young people out there, you don't have to rush yourself
Yeah.
and choke yourself, because I realize there's a time we have having a conversation with a friend that the marketplace also sieves. That if I come to you or you come to me and I tell you, I will do this masterclass for you for 10K, and then you come and you don't feel like the 10K was worth it, guess what would happen? You go out tell guys, this guy is not worth that. And then just a sieve. So hope it sieves you to the positive
Absolutely.
and not sieve you to the negative.
To the negative.
That has been such a mind-blowing conversation. What are your parting shots? And as we put this a comma to this conversation on boss moves, brand
Boss.
optimization, success strategy for young people, speakers, for the guys in ministry and even in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I think I'll say, okay. I think I will say,
Mhm.
if you want to go faster,
Uh-huh.
go alone.
Mhm.
But if you are going far,
Uh-huh.
go with people.
Mm.
Find someone.
Mhm.
Number 2, grow with your generation.
Mhm.
I know there is the rush of trying to get the attention of the big
Wings.
big wings and stuff like that. Never forget that your generation is also part of the social capital you need to leverage on.
Mhm.
The people that you're growing up with right now, they may not look like they have the money,
Mhm.
but they have the potential. And 5 years from now, they're going to be executives, CEOs, potential employers.
Uh-huh.
But because they don't look like it now, you
Mhm.
end up looking down on them.
Mhm.
Because the truth of the matter is that time and chance happens to them all. You get it?
Mhm.
The third thing I will say as a parting shot,
Mhm.
build your capacity.
Mhm.
Invest in your dreams. Invest in your destiny.
Mhm.
Your destiny is at the mercies of your personal growth and development.
Mhm.
Because you don't go to the next level.
Mhm.
You grow yourself to the next level. So if you don't grow,
Mhm.
you can't go. But of course, we can still keep this conversation going and going.
Yeah.
I don't know if possibly I can.
You can share your.
Yeah, so I have 3 amazing books that you can actually get. My books are found on Nuria Kenya, Nuria Bookstore. But you can also just reach out to me on social media if you want any copies of my books. So you can check me out as Okanda S. Eugene. Okanda S. Eugene on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok as Okanda S. Eugene. And on of course on YouTube as Okanda Leadership Academy, where we also share quite a lot of content on what we do. But I've written 3 books. The Pressure of Being Gifted. The second one is on public speaking and communication hacks. And the third one is the A to Z of public speaking for a teenager. And I'm releasing the 4th one, Young and Bold. 20 lessons that I'm convinced every young person needs to make in their 20s. And that is my my birthday gift to every young person in their 20s. Yeah, but let's keep this conversation going and we can continue just connecting.
Thank you so much. That
Yeah.
was fire in our ears and fuel to our feet. I hope that blesses your heart. Till then, all the best. Be the best. We'll see you in the next video.
Cheers.